Niall Stanage, White House columnist for The Hill, is here. You know, frequently we make decisions to announce news when we don't really know when it's going to happen. Governor DeSantis is one of these cases where we knew it was potentially imminent. Finally, it is going to happen. Niall, what do you make of him doing this rollout with Elon Musk in Twitter Spaces? Are we surprised that Musk is being supportive of DeSantis in this way?
Not necessarily surprised by that point, because Elon Musk last year said he was leaning toward Ron DeSantis in the presidential election. I do think, in fairness to Governor DeSantis, he has managed to inject some excitement into this. You were just alluding to the fact that we've been talking about this being likely to happen for ages. And if he'd just come out and given a very predictable politician's speech and ticked the boxes, that perhaps wouldn't have been all that interesting. This is a little bit high risk, high reward. We know Elon Musk is a bit unpredictable, bit of a maverick, but it does make it a more compelling announcement than if Governor DeSantis had done something very conventional.
So very exciting, kind of getting people's attention. Obviously, clearly, it's going to be the headline with all the major news networks. But you just wrote a piece for The Hill on the rankings of the top 10 Republican candidates. You note that there are some real challenges for DeSantis as he joins the race. Spell those out for us.
Well, the first and obvious one is he is way behind former President Trump. We've got so accustomed to describing DeSantis as Trump's most serious rival. And that's true, but Trump is leading by about 30 points in national polls. So can Governor DeSantis close that gap? It's certainly possible. He can certainly make an argument about electability, about turning the page from the Trump era. But he can't afford very many mistakes. And he has already made some mistakes, the most notable being when he downplayed the war in Ukraine as a territorial dispute. He tried to extricate himself from that mess, but that's an example of the kind of misstep that he just doesn't have really room to make.
But there are people who would say that for one person, their misstep is actually really good PR. Or like in the case of former President Trump, he says things that other people could never get away with. And all of a sudden that galvanizes his base. So does Tim Scott and Nikki Haley, do other candidates or potential candidates have to do the same thing to close the gap with the polling numbers that we're seeing right now? And be bold, but be careful not to say something they can't get away with.
You make a really great point, because the challenge for people like Senator Scott or former Governor Haley is to keep themselves in the news without it seeming obvious that they're just saying crazy or eccentric things to do that. Now, neither of them are particularly crazy or eccentric people, but they are competing for attention against that big top two of Trump and DeSantis. It is a challenge for them. I could sketch out a scenario in which Haley or Scott make it, but it's largely one that is dependent upon Trump or DeSantis making mistakes, or Trump and DeSantis just punching each other so hard that it ultimately turns even Republican voters off and they look for a more palatable alternative.
But when DeSantis does make this announcement tonight, as we've anticipated and say that it is scheduled, what will he have to say or do so that we know it's not just hype?
He has to be impressive. He has to be cogent. He has to make a compelling case for his candidacy. We know what the contours of that case are. It's to say, basically, he can pursue Trump-like policies with less baggage. You and I have spoken before, Adrienne, about the fact that there isn't much difference between the Trump and DeSantis policy platforms. DeSantis' whole argument is he's more electable because he brings less of the drama. How effective is he in making that case tonight?
Niall Stanage, always good to have you here. Thank you so much.
Thank you for watching. Go to newsnationnow.com to find NewsNation on your television provider. And don't forget to click the red subscribe button below to get more of NewsNation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.